What's up guys, T2RX6 here. Just want to throw this out before I do the actual combined mode review. It's about 3 in the morning. I finished reviewing this thing probably like 10 minutes ago. And I realized something I always forget on Dead End here. And I said that this looks pretty awful and they give you all the gun bits to kind of fill it in. And I think I called it a hollow atrocity. I always seem to forget that you can actually take these. In fact, I think when you see him in comparing him with Motor Master, I don't fold these in. I always forget that those pieces fold in to make the legs not so hollow, which does make the arm look better if you want to use the gun pieces. So just something to keep in mind as you're going through the video. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy. Alright guys, so we're back here for the second part of the CA13 Diesel set, and we're actually going to turn him into M3, otherwise known as Menasor. Now as you can see below, we have all the parts from his Intimidator mode still left in Intimidator mode, and just kind of sitting around here. We're going to need all of these, and it's just easier to keep things combined like the sword and stuff before we go on. And you're going to want every one of the limbs back in the car mode because that's the easiest way to transform them all. We'll start with the gun so you can get this out of the way. You're going to take this handle and just flip it around and peg it in, and there we go, we've got his gun. And if you've got that extra piece handy, now's a good time to pull it out of the bag and just kind of keep it there. We're going to come down to here, we're going to take these two pieces here and just set them aside for now. We'll take the hands, also set them aside for now. And we'll take the roller car, set it aside, and we'll get onto these pieces. So now with these all free, you want this extended upwards like so. They will tab in. I really should have opened that up when I put it back together to shore up that connection, but it's okay. I'll do it on this one. And I'm dropping things already. So you just kind of want to open this top piece up like so, and that's going to give you the freedom to move this on up and then close it all back in like so, and it should have locked this piece in position. Now we're going to come to the feet here. What's particularly cool is this black strip right here on the trailer piece is actually a little rubber footing to help them stand. So what we're going to start by doing is take this and flip it like so, and then take these, and you see you got these two little tabs, so be careful, and just kind of plug them in like that and bring this all the way around. And now there are tabs here and a hole here. They don't really hold very well for mine, but it's close enough. Then we're going to take this, flip this on up, and you can see this popped out again to bring that vertical. And just go ahead and close these at about the same time, and we've got the foot here, and we'll do that to the other side again so you can see. Close these on up, flip this around, flip this on up, flip these around. And this is actually only the third time I have put him into the combined mode. The second time I did it without instructions, first time with instructions, and now we're going to handicap ourselves with the camera because I'm feeling overconfident. Now we're going to take these two pieces here, and the guns just kind of slide into these channels like that to kind of make like a piston type thing going on. And there we go, we've got what are going to become his legs. We'll put them aside for now, and we'll get on to the main attraction, which is where the quote-unquote fun starts happening. So again, I'm going to just take these panels on off because it's easier to show you guys everything with these off, and things get way less in the way when you have this guy being put in his combined mode. Yeah, so I'm doing this for just the ease. You can do it with everything on there, but it all hangs off, and again, kind of difficult. So the first thing we're going to do after we have this is rotate this top gray piece all the way around, and it's pretty tough, but you should be able to get it all the way around like so. And then we're going to come up here and you grab this little joint here, and you should be able to flip his body all the way around like so. Now let's get down and let's actually work on the legs. So the first thing we're going to do is open up this panel and kind of undo those clipped connections on the feet and rotate it on down. Now we need to unpeg the front of the truck here and bring this up, and then we can actually continue rotating this around so it's like 90 degrees here with that. And then what we're gonna do is kind of fold everything in like this, and this is probably gonna pop the foot off the joint here because it always seems to do that for me. But we're gonna bring this all the way around like this, and you can see that those black tabs that were kind of keeping our foot from sitting level are just gonna plug right into the side of the truck like that. So you should have like that backwards L, or you know, like that. So once we have this like so, we actually can peg this all back together. And what we're gonna do is now bring this weird joint assembly on up and then rotate the knee joint down so it comes all the way back around like this. And you make sure your combiner port is out there, and you should see that you have this little groove here, a tab, hole, and a tab. This is going to come down and lock everything in place down here if we did it correct. And nice sounding click there to tell you you've got it in the right place. And that is done for that foot here. So now we're going to come here, open this on up, and just repeat the whole entire process. And we'll see if I can actually get this without it popping off. Bring this all the way through, so you 90 the front of the truck here. Work this ball joint a little bit, bring it up, bring it over, and work the joint a little more. That is the first time I've ever done it that foot thing hasn't popped off on one of these two when trying to put it back in the or when trying to plug it in like that. So now we'll take this, we'll rotate this joint up and the knees, bring that all the way down, bring these leg tabs on in. There we go, nice and solid there. And this part is done. So what we can actually do now is take these, and again, you got that keying feature. You just kind of put it in and you give it a little bit of a wiggle until it clips on in, and then you rotate this thing all the way around. And that's going to make one of our feet. We'll do it again for the other side here. There's the second one. Rotate it. And there we go. We've got the legs of our Menasor here. So now we're going to come and focus on the top area here. And this is a little bit tricky. So we're going to take this and rotate this back panel out like so. And then take your finger and push the Menasor head on out. Now you do need to have the Motor Master head up, because as you swivel this, it's going to get in the way a little bit. And it does help to kind of angle the head as you're pulling this one out. So you can actually put the Motor Master head in as you bring Menasor's head out. And you're just going to kind of rotate it with the facing that back panel and open up his head crest. No epic head reveal, but that's okay. We really don't have the time for that. So now the next thing we're going to do here, and let me raise this so we can get extra height out of it. This is usually a good time to pause, and we grab a much simpler toy and we transform that, because, you know, maybe you're getting a little frustrated and you just need to go and reminisce to the days when toys were easy to transform, and you know, something like this is a good one to do. And once you've gotten your aggression out because, you know, you've transformed something rather quickly, we can continue back to Menasor here. So we're going to flip this down here and make sure you have everything all lined up, and you should get a very good click as you bring his torso together with the bottom of his body, his waist. And there are these tabs here intended to lock in to the front, so you have to make sure it's positioned the right way. And there we go. It clicks in. Now, with respect to these back pieces, we do want to pull these out. And if you had, like, all this stuff is just so difficult to do with these back things, the back panels. But leave it like that, pull them on out, and you're set for that. So now it's just a matter of basically figuring out his arms. So what we want to do is rotate these so you have these pieces, these bar pieces sticking out, and you also want to rotate it so you have these purple shoulder pads hanging out. That's the two most important things. And take out your combiner ports right now. The next thing we're going to do is rotate these wrists and get them situated. And you can now rotate this to the other side like so. And just like you would plug this in when he was going back to his truck mode, you're going to have this down, bring his wrist back in, and it would like kind of plug into the screw hole, but not really. So you just kind of put it there, close this up, and close the top like this. And I'll show you that again on the other side. Again, we bring his wrist back in. We flip this around to the other side. Fold that down. Fold this over, and you should have kind of those two pylon things here. And then all you do now is rotate this on up and rotate the shoulder as you're doing that. And then just like these were plugged into the truck mode here, you want to come around to the back and probably pick them up as easiest, and make sure that you're getting the shoulder type things into the back plate here on the back. And this can be a little bit tricky, but once you see where the hole is, it usually isn't too bad. Whoops, my arm was coming undone there. And this one is fighting me. Of course, because we're doing it on video. And I'm telling you that he's not so bad. So of course he's bad. There we go. Clipped in now. So leave those joints out like that, and we got a very stumpy Menasor here. And you can see everything is solid. This is the best time to come back and bring these things back in. And what you want to do is make sure your wheels are out like this as you put them back on. Like so. And then what you're going to do, whoops, I'm sorry, I put these on the wrong side. There we go. And you'll be able to tell if you put it on the wrong side really quickly when you see what you have to do here. So the next part is to take this and fold these on up, and you've got, this is just going to barely fit in, and then there's a little tab up here that corresponds with this here. And then, to top it all off, this black wheel piece is going to rotate down and slot into here, and that's going to kind of sure up everything once we do that. So now that we have everything else in place, we can get this, tab this together, and you can see our wheel is now in here, and that's nice and solid. And this is why I just think it's better to do this all after, because trying to get these black wheels in place beforehand is definitely problematic from my experience. So take this and fit it in. Everything's tabbed in, everything looks good, and we're done with the actual core body. So before we move on to the cars, we might as well go ahead and do the little roller car guy here. We just kind of flip all his wheels down like this, and you'll see this little peg hole here. You want it to line up with the head of Motor Master here, which can be a little tricky because sometimes it likes to swivel, and just plug it in. You can see we've got most of what we need to done here. So now we're going to come to the actual cars, and you may remember that this is Scramble City back in the old toys, which meant you could flip things on around. So we're going to go and do it the proper way first, and then we can actually go ahead and move all these pieces all around and make everything else. And that's something I haven't seen any other reviewer kind of point out yet. So yeah, let's start with this guy. The two, usual legs here are very easy. All you do is kind of pop out that middle piece so it sticks out just a tiny bit. And you got 3 holes here. And all you're going to do is take them and plug them right on into the leg sockets here. Like so. And somehow I opened up my knee cavities. It ends up being a lot easier if you take these weapons out, and you can leave them in, but I'm just going to go ahead and take them out for the purpose of this review because I don't really like them. I'll show you the ones where they are supposed to be in place and how the instruction manual tells it before we discard them to the side too. But for these cars, they actually can stay on. I just prefer to take them off for my own tastes. So we'll take this and we'll just plug them on in here like so. And we've got one leg on. We do exactly the same thing for this guy. Again, I'm going to just take his weapons off here. And we just kind of open this on up. And we plug it on in down at the bottom. And actually, once the weapons are gone, you probably can close these back up if you really want to. It's usually just the fact that the weapons are there that really causes the problem. So I'm going to go ahead and close these back up. And I've seen some people who, get a little bit creative with this, and they, kind of separate out the cars a little bit to make it look like more has transformed than what really has. You certainly can do that if you like that. I like the non-broken up cars. Alright, so now we're going to get to the arms here, which are not that tricky, but I've seen a lot of people complain about drag strip having floppy arms. And it's most likely because you've skipped a step. If you find your arms are floppy, there's a reason why. So let's actually take drag strip here, and I've already taken his gun out. We have to open this up so we can get his feet out, because basically we're going to transform his lower part back to his robot mode. And we'll take this, we'll close this up, and we'll put everything back just like this. And just as the top of the car is complete, like so. I really hate the front top of this car, just the way everything kind of falls apart on me. There we go. Okay, so we got this. Now, you're going to come down here and you're going to rotate the legs just like you would when you're putting them into his robot mode. But there's one extra step that you want to do. So take this and bring this on down and around. And I'm going to show you the wrong way to do this. We've just brought this down just like we normally would. Put him into robot mode. And I don't ever remember seeing this instruction on drag strip when we were transforming him, when we had his actual instructions, but regardless. So take this, and I can never ever remember which way the thing goes. I believe it goes down. We put it like this, plug it onto the wheels here. Whoops, that's the wrong one. For which side I'm putting them on. But we put it like this, and we close it on up, like so. And you're gonna find that when you do this, you know, it doesn't look so bad now, but you can't really hold anything. And that's because you've missed a step. And before we go there, this is how they want you to leave the gun on here. Just not gonna do it. So we'll put that aside. And let's open this up and let's look. If you notice, these are shaped a very specific way, and if you really look carefully, there's a piece of his wheel missing. So you want to take this and plug that all the way down, like so, on both sides, and you'll get a little extra movement out of it to plug that in. Now, when you take this assembly, his hand assembly, and you plug it in, and you close this on up, that is much more sturdy now. When you move this wrist piece, the wheels themselves are not moving. So if we were to maybe put his sword in there, you know, like this, not going anywhere. Finally went somewhere, but not floppy. Certainly can hold his sword much better than he could if you do it wrong. So, important thing to note is that there was one more step that most people who claim that theirs is floppy have missed. So the next thing we're going to do is take one of these joints here, and you just want to plug it in like so, and that's going to give extra support. And then we bring this up and plug it on in, and then we just kind of key it into the arm here like so, and just kind of give it that little bit of a wiggle until it finally slides into place. Always takes me a couple tries before it ends up working for me, because it doesn't like me apparently. I can't stand this part of it. This is what I would consider the hardest part of the whole transformation. There we go. Finally we got it in, and we can rotate this around so it's not going to come undone, and we can fix up anything that we happen to pop out at the same time. So there we go. We've got a drag strip with a non-floppy hand now, ready to hold whatever we put in it. And we did pop this open though, which we can't have. There we go. Like so. Now we're going to come to a dead end here, and we'll transform his legs. And this guy's placement of his gun is even worse. So we take this, and his arm mode kind of looks like this, which is pretty ugly. And they want you to take this and just kind of plug it right here, which the connection for this is so insecure that I don't feel like, you know, it's gonna stay on there long before you end up losing it. Alright, sorry for the quick jump cut here. I just realized something as I'm putting this guy together. I had said that you got this extra piece for later on. I have no idea why you got this extra piece right now, and I kind of don't understand the planning. Clearly, this is a handle designed for, you know, when he's in Menasor mode, to hold on to whatever, his gun or whatever. But you need all these pieces, which are what actually forms the gun. So I had thought this second piece here actually was to allow you to fix this atrocity of hollowness. I guess you kinda could make it happen. It's not really gonna work entirely. You could do that and you get half of the arm at least, and then you could still make the gun. But really, you need this whole thing here, and you just kind of peg it in here, and that just takes away almost your entire ability to make the gun. Well, I guess not. You could take this and you could take that, but you're still missing one of the pieces you need to clip the two rifles together. Let's actually take a look at this. So we're gonna keep this like this. I'm just gonna put this down right now, and I've separated out the shotguns here. And let's see what we can actually kind of make with this, so we can see if there is a reason we have that extra piece. So we plug this in, we plug that in, looking okay so far. Normally you would put the other one on top, but we can't do that this time. So we'll put this on like so. We'll flip this around. So I guess it's not a complete loss here, because you can still make a rifle like this out of the pieces and still have that. So I guess that's probably why they gave the extra gun piece. I'm not thrilled about the entire look, but yeah, I guess it's not horrible. Again, starting backwards, get it to clip in and bring it all the way around. And there we go, we've got them in Menasor mode. We do have these shotguns here, and if you want to place the storm, you do have these little triangles on the back flap that do perfectly match up with the shotgun. And you just kind of can store them on his back, and they're entirely too small for him to use as is. But yeah, this guy is looking pretty good, and let's go ahead and give his rectified hand here his sword, because he needs it. And this guy just looks amazing looking. Let's back up so we can get him completely in frame here, because he ends up being quite a bit larger than I had anticipated. How small the cars are. Whoops, and I'm knocking everything over as I'm trying to get into position. Based on how small the cars are, I expected him to be smaller, but he really is impressively hefty. You can see, like I said, those feet like to fall down there. The range of motion out of this guy is actually very solid, from the joints on the shoulder giving you a little bit of motion here. You could get a little bit more out of it if you're careful. The actual combiner piece here will move to give you a little more range. Here, obviously, their waists are acting as the elbow joint. And yeah, that's good. You get the nice rotation of the hands. I already showed you the hands. You do have the waist. The same hips that Motormaster had keeps going for this. The knee joint is a little tough to work because it's on that black piece down there, and oftentimes you'll find that you'll end up unpegging the combiner peg like I just did from that front panel when you're trying to work with it. But it still works, and what fell off here is just the bottom of the foot, which it's going to be easier to show it. You do have a nice range of motion on there, and a like an ankle tilt based on that ratcheting joint. So for a couple size comparisons here is the the individual robots are much larger TFC Uranus, and you can see that Uranus is only marginally taller than M3/Menasor here. Really not a huge difference considering how much bigger each individual piece of this guy was. So let's take him out of here real quick, and we will also put in the original Menasor here. So like I said earlier, these guys are proper Scramble City. So maybe you had a Menasor and you put Dead End as a foot. Well, Dead End is already set up such that we can make him a foot. Now, these guys don't quite work as well just because they're a little bit bigger, but it can still be done. And we can take drag strip here and also make him a foot. very simply. Just plug them on in. There we go. We've got that. And then we take these guys here and we have to kind of take them apart a little because we have to transform them into their proper leg modes here. And then the rest we can all kind of leave together like this. Close this on up. Open this just like you're transforming him the proper way. There we go. The feet are out like so. And we'll do that again on this side. And there we go. Everything is now properly arranged. And we're going to take, we'll put him on this side here. So, well, let's start with the actual hand. We're going to take this, and you can see there's the little circle in here. So you just kind of push this on in. You see it fits real nicely between the legs right there. And you just can close all of this stuff on up. On both sides, everything pegs in. The center of the circle pegs in. These two pieces peg in. Like that. And we got a nice arm. I'm gonna put it like that, I guess, is probably the best way to do it. So we got a nice arm mode like this. To actually get the combiner peg on this, all you have to do is lift this on up. I suppose you have to get this out of the way just a tiny bit. And you're going to take these and, well, let's get the whole arm assembly out of the way so we can take a look here as we're plugging this in, and we'll just plug it all back together after. And I lost one of his hands here on the ball joint and fix that real fast. So we'll take this piece and just kind of plug it in the side here. This one's a little more difficult because you don't really, it doesn't fit exactly the same as far as I can see. It still kind of goes on the sides here, but it doesn't seem to have the same locking retention assembly. So you just kind of plug it on in like that, and then we can take all this stuff and put it back in place once we have this all plugged in. At least as best as we can. Looks like we gotta have it out just a little bit like this. And we can lose that whole piece. Try that again. Actually, you know what? We can just probably leave that folded up and plug it in like so. And then take this. Not nearly as secure as he would be if we had left it the way that he's intended to go, but nonetheless it is proper Scramble City in that sense. And we lost the dead end foot down here. There we go. And we'll take this guy, exactly the same thing. Whoops, break his leg off because he didn't need that leg anyway. Transform everything here. And I should probably keep the leg on the bot, but that's okay. Whatever. You guys get the idea. I'll do it again for this side. Extend everything out. Pop his leg off the ball joint. It is 2 in the morning. I'm really tired at this point, so muscles are not necessarily acting at, full ability to control them necessarily. And it's making me pop things off. But You get the idea. Come on, cut me some slack. 2 a.m. There we go. Someone's gonna comment on this and be like, oh, leg fell off. I'm sure of it. I am sure of it. So there we go. Maybe. Maybe. Don't play with me. There we go. Perfect. So we take that. We take our hand assembly here. Plug it on in just like we did the last time and realize that we're still not done properly on this leg quite yet. There we go. Now we got it. So like I said, we take this thing and we plug it on in like so. Clip the legs completely together on all accounts. Easier to see it from the back. Clip it all in. Make sure that this wheel is properly located. There we go. Like this. Move the camera down so my muscles don't get completely tired out. Raise this piece and open it up a tiny bit so we can get that. We're just not going to bother with these tabbed pieces based on the success we had with the previous set. And we plug this on in like so. I suppose we can shrink their waist. And there we go. Proper Scramble City Menasor. So there you go. We have the proper Scramble City style combiner. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. This is T2RX6. I'll see you guys next week.